Everyone, thank you so much. I'm sorry I can't speak Vietnamese. I'm gonna have to default on English today, so hopefully most of you can understand. If you cannot understand, it's okay because there's a lot of visuals that you're gonna see today. So today I'm gonna talk about the Enterprise Metaverse. So what is the Enterprise Metaverse? Good question. First of all, oh my gosh, it's a little big, right? Just like the Metaverse, it's larger than life. So that is exactly what the Metaverse is all about. All right, so first of all, I want to say thank you for welcoming us to Vietnam. Virspatial is actually a Singapore company, so we're very excited to be here. So at the same time, who am I? Has anybody ever heard of this game, Diablo? Anybody? Yes. So I work with the creators of Diablo. So Diablo is one of the first games in the entire world, right, in the history, where actually people are starting to talk about how it's actually affecting the metaverse. So I'll get to that. So my background, actually, I'm from Silicon Valley, right? I worked at NVIDIA. Anybody heard of NVIDIA? Big company, right? Graphics cards, GPUs. I worked there for many years, and at the same time, I also worked in the video game industry. And I worked with the creators of Diablo on a game called Headquartered London. And why is this important? It's because recently, the last couple of years, right, Facebook changed their name to Meta, and then all of a sudden, all these white papers are coming out and saying, hey, guess what? What is the ecosystem of Metaverse? Actually, what's interesting is that Diablo is known from the video game industry as a personalization to the current Metaverse. And what does that mean? If you ever played any type of game like Diablo, when you actually pick up things, right? It's like an NPC, you're a player character. You can get a hat, right? You can get clothing, you can get shoes. Personalization is really important in the Metaverse, as we know. And when it comes to that, it's about actually trying to be anywhere in the world and you can see this, you can feel it, you can experience it, right? I could be a hologram. So this is the thing about, it doesn't matter where you are in the entire world. It's about how you experience it and how you connect with other people, right? The Metaverse is about connecting people to other people. It doesn't matter physically where you are, and that's really key. So, when we talk about business trends in the Metaverse, the market size is estimated to be, by 2030, over $678 billion US. That's huge. It's basically the next internet. And at the same time, Metaverse growth, because of the pandemic, right, because of COVID, right, almost 100%. It's huge. And it's coming and it's here. And at the same time, work possibilities, astronomical. So when we talk about industries, right, we don't have to even think about it. Every single industry is digitizing. Right? It's digitizing and it's going to be affecting the Metaverse. So it doesn't matter if it's smart factories, smart cities, right? It could be construction, marketing. The way that we currently market and advertise is going to be completely different. If you think about it right now, for sporting events, you go to a stadium and you see advertising, but guess what? They can only advertise in that physical location, but in the Metaverse, it's unlimited. Just like this room, right? Right now, if I had an advertising going across over here, that's only one. But in the digital world, in the Metaverse, it's unlimited. It depends on what you're interested in. It could be about sports. It could be about cars. It could be about racing. It could be about anything. And that's the beauty of the Metaverse. So, the benefits of Metaverse, right? It's the same. You improve work efficiency as well as communication and collaboration. Metaverse is about collaboration. So we all know about Zoom. We know about Microsoft Teams. It's making it easy to connect people, to have conversations. But the key thing about that, it's all two-dimensional. Right now, when you're sharing a PDF or a Word document, it's two-dimensional. You cannot experience it. And when it comes to Metaverse and Enterprise Metaverse solutions, you're going to be able to experience it. So you can imagine if you can actually see, let's say you're in real estate, you see this building in front of you, you can rotate it and everybody else is around the same virtual environment. And all of the other colleagues could be anywhere in the world. So, by the way, what happened in the last 2 years, right? COVID-19 has accelerated digital transformation. It's made a lot of businesses very rich, just like Zoom, right? It's because of this and also because of people staying home. They couldn't really go outside. And that's why all the money started pouring into these metaverses. Just like video games, Roblox, Fortnite, huge. So Vietnam, one of the fastest growing Southeast Asia. In digital economy, over 50 billion US dollars, only growing. More people are having access to the internet, and at the same time, how do you actually improve the way that you experience and spend? And that's really key. So, Virspatial, what do we do? So, we were actually this year, we were selected by the World Economic Forum as a tech pioneer worldwide. Our sister company, DigiTwin. And at the same time, we are also on IBC's spatial computing. We've done many worldwide projects as well. We've written white papers. We were also accredited by IMDA in Singapore. We also wrote a Metaverse book. So we've worked with so many agencies worldwide to help enterprises understand how to become a metaverse type of application. So I'm going to show you some of that very soon. So our areas of focus, it could be anything, manufacturing, right? This was actually a Nokia Suto plant, and we completely digitized it because we support all of the digital file formats. It could be CAD, it could be BIM, it could be Revit, SketchUp. We support all of that. At the same time, energy sector, right? We all understand sustainability is big. ESG is big, right? Every single business moving into the next 10, 20, 30 years has to be sustainable, has to be net zero. Property management. So what we really do, it's about the spatialization of data to make us human beings understand it better. We're so used to experiencing our data in Excel, in spreadsheets, all two-dimensional. And that's really hard for us human beings to actually convert that in our minds. We're experiencing the whole world in 3D. Why do we have to experience our own data in 2D? So this is where we come in, right? For example, over here, autonomous cars, autonomous buses. Every single second, they're giving out, outputting data exactly where they're supposed to be. Except we're human beings. We're not going to read that stream of data. It would be so much easier if you can actually visualize and see it in real time. And that's exactly what we do. We spatialize it on a GIS map and a 3D map so that you can understand, oh, it's actually on a freeway, a highway, instead of a bunch of numbers running across your screen. At the same time, we've done ports, smart ports. Very, very, very important for spatialization of all the containers. It's amazing because every single container, if you can understand it's on top of other containers, right? How do you actually optimize that to move it when you know that a truck is entering the port and it has to actually pick up something on the top versus the bottom? And you can save time that way. We've also done water treatment plants in Singapore. PUB. All of the water treatment plants, all of the water pumps, right? We work with Schneider as well to integrate all of their water pumps directly onto a 3D environment so that you can zoom directly down and see all the information. And what's unique about our technology is that you can actually wear AR, and if you're standing in front of the water pump, you can see all the information flowing in. That gives you superhuman capability. You don't have to look at a laptop. You don't have to look at your phone to access that information. Just look at the real world asset and you see the information. So when it comes to 6 key target areas, it's about visualization, right? Especially when it comes to different industries coming together. We all know about IoT, Internet of Things. Everything's becoming IoT. Right? It doesn't matter if it's CCTV or even in this room, right? The projectors, or it could be the lighting, the electricity. If you can access that data, you can spatialize it. Because in the physical world, right, on Earth, there is a location where that IoT sensor is. So why can't you put it in a virtual world as well? So when it comes to what we do, right, it's about hyper-connectivity and sustainable world. So one of the examples I can show you, we've actually done this, a smart city solution in Shanghai. Anybody been to Shanghai?
Có ai có câu hỏi nào thì chúng ta giơ tay được không ạ? Dạ rồi, có ai đã đến Thượng Hải chưa ạ? Rồi, có nhiều cánh tay, rồi có nhiều cánh tay, xin lỗi. Em tưởng là có ai nào muốn đặt câu hỏi thì mình giơ tay nha quý vị. Rồi, go ahead.
So this is the digital twin of the Bund area in Shanghai. So all of this data, right, you can use a drone to have, this is a real drone footage and the digital twin, the Enterprise Metaverse for this district. So this is very similar to a whole operating system. So in China, we all know that, you know, security as well as the government has access to people's data. So this was actually done for the police department. So not only can you actually visualize and interact with this environment, you can see all of this data. At the same time, the police department uses this to understand the road closures, right? Let's say government leaders are coming to Shanghai and they can actually close certain roads in simulation first to see how it affects every other road. And at the same time, they can also connect other forms of data. So what we do, we connect all sorts of different data, whether it's BIM, whether it's, you know, photogrammetry, whether it's about the urban planning divisions, whether it's anything like that. We connect it onto a single spatial 3D platform and allows different customers access to all of this in an immersive environment. It makes it a lot easier to understand the data too. So when it comes to this, all right, you can think about, just like Google Earth. When it comes to Google Earth, it's so easy to use, except Google, right, will not let you import your own data. That's for consumers. But when it comes to enterprises, every enterprise has their own data. And you need a platform to actually experience it. This is what we do. So another example is actually, this is NUS. NUS is actually a university in Singapore. We've actually digitized their entire SDE4 building. It's the first net zero building in all of Southeast Asia. And outside of that, we've also integrated a lot of robotics. So when it comes to Enterprise Metaverse and digital twins, that's exactly what we do. So when you can actually spatialize and visualize all of your sensors on a single platform, then it makes it a lot easier from a facilities management perspective to understand all of it, right? For example, over here, car plate license recognition. All of it is combined in a single platform. And of course, this dashboard can also tell you all of the issues that are going on with your building, whether there's battery issues or if the sensors are not connected, right? At the same time, this is not just a fancy visualization. Visualization is very important, but when it comes to real world data, that's really key. And later on in this video, it actually goes into a 5G control center where you can actually control robots. So during COVID times, they actually can tell a robot to go to a specific location in a different room, and the robot will go there. So this becomes an operating platform for the facilities management. So it could be a UV robot, it could be anything, right? So it's not just a visualization of the actual IoT, but also you're controlling robots to do things that maybe you can't access. And that's really the key thing about a digital twin inside of an enterprise metaverse. It's their own data, right? It's deployed completely on their location. So as you can see, all of that, right? The recycling robots, all of that is a one-to-one real-time representation of it in the digital world. And this is why the Enterprise Metaverse is important, for us human beings to understand all of that data that's flowing through between machines to other machines. So again, everything starts with vision, right? Because we are human beings. We use our eyes to understand the entire world. So when it comes to that 90% of information transmitted to our brains is visual, the other 4 senses only account for 10% of our understanding of the world. And that's why what you saw, 3D visualization, is so important. So this is where we come up with our Twinverse. Our Twinverse is a metaverse for business. And what does that mean? It's actually, we break it down to 3 main components. Content is actually your content, right? It's the enterprise's content. That's really key. We're not Facebook. We're not going to collect all your data. All right? It's about your content on top of the platform, which is going to be deployed on your own cloud or your own on-prem. And then the experience layer. So we also launched the Twinverse last year. If you're interested, you can stop by our booth later to talk about this. But we've done so much, actually. For example, from the Earth perspective, we have multiple locations. There's Shanghai, there's Singapore, and today, actually, you can experience the actual trade, the trade show. We've also controlled different lights, IoT, we control drones. Over here, you can actually access the CCTVs live. And this is where the Enterprise Metaverse is. We've already proven it. We're working with so many multinational companies to have them, allow them access to their own data to experience it differently in the Enterprise Metaverse. And this is something, for example, whether it's a smart city or smart manufacturing, this is what we focus on, because it's about your data. And finally, how do you experience it? We all know that it's coming, right? I believe maybe next month, next month, Apple might actually announce their first HMD. It's not going to be very lightweight glasses, but it's going to be a head-mounted display. Maybe they might announce it. And it's going to revolutionize the way that we experience the world. And of course, this is from Qualcomm, talking about today, right? There's already smart glasses, but they're tethered. You have to bring your phone. And then of course, through Bluetooth and other technologies, it will wirelessly transmit the data to the AR device. However, very soon, only 5 to 10 years, you're going to be leaving home with just AR glasses. No longer do you need to bring your phone, because you'll be able to interact with the world and see all the data in the entire world through glasses. And how do you interact with it? You're not going to be using your gestures and moving your hands around. It'll be through NLP. You'll be talking to it. And there's actually even patents out where you don't actually have to speak it. You just move your lips, and it can actually detect what you're trying to say without actually speaking it. So there's so many new technologies that will enable the metaverse to be alive for us to experience the content all around you. Right? I believe that very soon, in the next window, and instead of seeing what's actually happening in the physical world, it'll show me weather for the next 5 hours, just like you're accessing the weather app. And then I can say, oh, make me some coffee. And then it will navigate you to other locations in your smart home so that you can turn on and off all sorts of devices. And what's unique is that as soon as you exit your home, you access another metaverse, which is potentially the government metaverse. It'll tell you about the bus routes. It'll tell you about subway. It'll tell you about street closures, because it knows where you're trying to go. And then, once you enter your enterprise, your company, all of a sudden, instead of looking at your phone about, oh, my first meeting's at 9 a.m. in some place, it'll navigate you directly and say, your first meeting's here, and as soon as you approach the meeting room, there's a UI that pops up saying, okay, this is who's going to be, right? This is the last time you talked to this person, this is what you talked about. It makes your life so much easier. It's about saving us time so that we can be more efficient and that we can collaborate better. And this is the power of metaverses as well as enterprise metaverses to make our lives much more efficient, so that you don't have to juggle technology, right? It should just happen. So the future is definitely here. This is the first step for enterprises to actually experience their own data. And then of course, as more consumers have access to these devices, you can experience it in many other ways. So thank you so much for allowing me to talk about the Enterprise Metaverse, and I hope to meet every one of you at our booth. Thanks a lot.